Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to go ahead and put together the assembly in OnShape of the chassis ribs, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about how to put these parts together in your CAD software, in your OnShape CAD. What we're looking at is we've made the chassis pan, this flat bottom component, and we've made these ribs, and we've made them in a part studio, and now we want to bring them all together into an assembly like we have here. Now, so far you won't have the motor or the wheels, you're just going to have these two components, but we're going to go ahead and bring both components over into an assembly, and then we'll bring an extra rib in so that we have three. Now when we go to put these things together, you're going to see some symbols that are going to look like little Pac-Men. They're going to be little disc-shaped symbols in CAD that look like this. You're going to have a disc. You're going to have with like a V shape, like a Pac-Man mouth opening up, and then you're going to see three axes. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using these things in pairs, okay, so that they come together like so. All right. So let's go ahead back over to CAD and talk about that. So here's your parts you've made so far, and they are together as one because we're in a part studio. We're going to go ahead and open up an assembly, create an assembly. You might already have one down here that says assembly 1. I'm going to create an assembly, and we're going to go ahead and insert the parts we just made. So click the insert button at the top of the screen, and if you open up your chassis model, you'll see you have the assembly, or yours might still be called Part Studio 1, and you'll see the two parts that you made. I can bring them in as a group and hit the check, or I can bring them in one piece at a time. Okay, so again, insert, chassis, green check, and that allows the parts to come in. When they come in, they're going to be separate components, free to move around. Now, the very first thing we need to do in any assembly is we have to choose one part that's going to be the base for everything else, like the glue, the foundation. And so this chassis pan, this base plate, that's going to be our ground. That's going to be the earth for us. It's going to be what we're standing on. Everything else is going to be joined to that. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to choose fix. Fix is the tool that locks everything together so that we don't have to, or not locks it together, but locks it so it can't move. You see when I go click on that, when I click on it and start dragging, a little symbol pops up, looks like a box with like a little broom. That's, you know, sweeping the ground. That's the little broom that sticks to the ground. We can't move that. You can't move the ground, you can only move the broom. So now here's the other part that we can still move around. We're going to go ahead and put this together. Now the tool we're going to use to do that is something called a Fastening the Mate. It's right up here on the toolbar. You've got insert, you got mate connectors, and then Fasten the Mate. Now we're talking about mate connectors here. To do a mate, you're going to have these things called mate connectors. You can see them right here. They look like little Pac-Man. And anytime you'll see that there's lots of them. A mate connector is a specific location and direction on a given part. With Fastened Mate, which is the one we're using today, when you click, you are selecting a mate connector. So if I go ahead and grab this mate right now, and then I go ahead down here and grab this mate, you see I'm not going to actually try to go over and grab the mate. Now sometimes you can, but most of the time when you see a mate connector, if you move towards it, it changes when you get close to it. So you want to click to select when the mate connector that you want is visible. You don't go click on it. You just get it up and visible, and then you just click. And what's going to happen is the mate connectors become one. They merge together into one. So let me go over here to my old props. So here's your mate connectors, and they might be anywhere in space. So what's going to happen is when you select a mate connector, you'll see that they've got a blue, a red, and a green axis, and they're two separate things. Whenever you click on one, and then you click on the other, and accept that, they come together, and they merge, so that they drop right down onto each other and form one. The red meets the red, the blue meets the blue, the green meets the green, and they just become one. So now they're just a one-step component, and that's what a mate connector is. So if you look over here, I had two mate connectors, and now they are one. I'm going to undo that. We'll do it again. So I have, just grab a mate connector. Grab any mate connector. We'll grab the mate connector there. You see, that's the mate connector at the center of the axle hole. Come down here, grab a mate connector down here. Anything. Now you can see the center of that axle hole is going to wind up at the center of the chassis pan, and there it is. So the two mate connectors became one. I don't want that to happen. So what I do want to have happen is, well, put it together like this. I want the back of the back of the mate connector, the back of the rib to join with the back of the chassis pan. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to take this and we're going to put it so that it looks about like that, and we want it to be permanently glued there. Well, get your mate connector, or fasten mate, and zoom in on the area that you want, and we're going to find two mate connectors that are going to be looking in the same direction, pointing where we want. So let's hover, and there it is. So I want this corner right here. So I'll move my mouse around, like a spiraling motion seems to be the trick for me. If you put your mouse on it, it's not going to pop up what you want, so just start spiraling away from it a little bit, and until I see the mate connector in the spot I want. Then I stop, and you gotta go slow. If you go too fast, you're just going to see a lot of different things and you get frustrated. So just go slow until you see the mate connector you want. Click on it. Come over here. We want a mate connector that's on this end point right there, but I want it to be pointing in the direction away. I want the blue pointing towards me. So, oh, that's the correct direction, but that's the wrong mate connector. So I'm going to have to, there it is. Click and release. And if that's what I want, if it's in the shape that I want, just hit the green check, and there's my mate connector. So that's now joined together, and we're in good shape. I'm going to go ahead and put the other part in, hit the insert button, drop down, choose the other rib, bring it in, green check, and I want this notch right here at the back to line up with the back of the chassis. So again, fasten the mate. We'll come in here, and I want that mate connector. It looks like that was pretty easy for me, popped up. So click. Didn't grab, click. You'll see if you, come on, click it. There you go. When you select it, it pops up here. Whenever I don't have anything selected, you see the words mate connectors in the blue box. It's looking for a mate connector. So I'm just going to come over here, and when I click the mate connector, it says mate connector of rib 2. And so we'll zoom in. I want it, not that one, not that one. That one. Again, let's try that spiral motion. So I want it here. So I'm just going to go in a kind of a spiral around there. Oh, not that one. I want it to be pointing towards me, didn't I? That one, yeah, this one's pointing towards me. The blue is pointing at me. So we're going to come in. Yeah, that's the mate connector we selected. So we want the blue pointing towards us. Zoom in. Blue's pointing towards us, but it's not in the right. I want it up here. Nope. Circle around, circle around. Come on, you'll do it. Spiraling, no. Oh, nope. There it is. Slight movements is the deal. And click and release. I want click and No, I moved my mouse. Hold on. Grab the wrong thing, so click. Try it again. That's the one. Click and release. So you notice that I messed up on the first one, so if you accidentally grab the wrong mate connector, just click the little red X next to the name of the mate connector and it'll go away. And there it is. This is fully assembled. Now you can name these fastened components if you want. There's a lot of good situations you will want to do that, particularly when we get into animations. So I'm just going to rename that ribbon chassis. Oh, how about I spelled it correctly? I'm going to do that both times. That way, I'm going to give it the same name both times. Rib 2 in chassis. And the reason I do that is that there's going to be a lot of fastened mates. There's going to be a lot of Revolute mates. There's going to be many things called mate this, mate that. So if you tell it what parts the two parts that you're mating, it'll save you some time when you go back to look for that later. That's all there is to it. It can be super frustrating, so don't lose your cool. It took me a long time to figure out what I just showed you. It will take you a long time too, unless you're way smarter than I am, which is highly probable. But, have fun, be creative, and keep being awesome.